All right. So, thank you guys for participating in the democratic process. I do understand that tonight's candidates will be running unopposed, but just like in a normal democracy, I still want you guys to cast your votes. I still want you guys to show your approval through voting. Voting is your voice. In the United States, voting really is one of the most fundamental rights that we have. It's the way that we tell the people in power what we think. It's the way that we let our Congress members, our senators, our House members, we let the president, we let even the Supreme Court indirectly know what we think, what we the people think about a certain issue. That hasn't always been the case. Certainly not at the beginning of our country, when only white men who were Christian and owned land were allowed to vote in the United States. But we have moved a long, long way ever since we started figuring out just how pig ignorant that was. But there is still a few bumps in the road. In the United States, there are 7 states in the country that still explicitly ban non-religious people, atheists, agnostics, anybody who will not attest to definitively believing in the existence of a higher power or a deity. Now, thankfully, these state constitutional provisions are unenforceable. They exist only within the imaginations of whatever legislatures defend them. And we still have the right in Texas, in Tennessee, in Kentucky, and several other states to run for office as non-religious individuals. But there's something a bit more grim, a bit more sinister about what these bans on running for office, what these bans on voting do, what they mean. Think for a minute if the Texas Constitution, instead of saying no person may run for office who doesn't believe in a higher power, who doesn't recognize a higher power, instead of saying that, what if this provision said no person may run who does not adhere to Yahweh's higher power? What if it said no person who doesn't recognize that there are only 2 genders may run for office? What if that constitutional provision said no person of white complexion may run for office? Would there be a difference today? Would politicians act differently? We know how they act now, but would they act differently if those provisions said something other than non-religious people? I think they would. I think Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Green Party, anybody in power, anybody would be trying to repeal such a restriction in a state constitution. If, and I believe this, for just brownie points, just to look good in the eye of the public, people would at least be tripping head over heels to get that provision removed as soon as possible. There would be amendments in every single state legislature to restrict the passing of such restrictions in the constitutions of their states, and make sure that such restrictions do not ever exist in their state constitutions again. So why don't we see that for religious people, for non-religious people? Because inherently what they're saying is it's okay to discriminate against non-religious people. It's okay to pick on non-religious people for not believing. It's okay to treat them differently, because what better way to say that in the land of the free, those who are free of mind are no more than second-class citizens. Many of the founding fathers of the United States, with these provisions, would not have been able to vote, would not have been able to run for office. Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Paine, many other heretical, free-thinking pioneers in what was to be the country that we live in today whether we like that country or not. And so people who ignore these provisions, who just wave them away, if any one of you is listening or will see this video, I want to ask you why you think it's okay to just leave these provisions there. And it wouldn't be okay if those provisions segregated against any other class or community of people. And I beg you to reconsider. And for those of us in this room here today who do fall into that category, who the United States and its territories say it is okay to discriminate against, we have to get up. We have to go out. We have to go vote. We have to go protest. We need to talk to the people in charge. We need to show them that we're not happy with the way things are and that we want this to change. So with that, I leave off tonight. If you disagree with me, I am open to discussion about it. Thank you guys for listening.